Sir, we are live.
Okay, friends, great evening to everyone present here. And it's a privilege and it's a matter of pride and for all of us to have with us very, very eminent professor of NCRT, Professor Shakuntala Nagpal.
Full screen.
Ma'am,
Please make it full screen.
yeah, just. Okay.
Sir.
Ma'am Shakuntala Nagpal had been in NCRT. She is eminent professor, former head of Department of Teacher Education and Extension, NCRT New Delhi. Teacher education, educator, she has worked for more than 2 decades, had been recognized world over, had been contributing in the field of teacher education a lot, totally committed. MA Psychology from GNDU, MEd from GNDU Amritsar in 73, PG Diploma in Education and Vocational Guidance in NCRT in 1974, PhD in Education from Delhi University in 1983, PG Diploma in Distant Education from IGNOU in 1992. Ma'am Nagpal had taught undergraduate and postgraduate teachers at Regional College of Education Ajmer for 19 years from 1975 to 93. She had been in the Department of Education, Psychology and Foundations of Education, DEPFE, NCRT, New Delhi. Head of Department of Teacher Education and Extension, NCRT. She had been a state coordinator for national level studies as a baseline assessment, state coordinator for Orissa of DPEP project 1993-94. Developed instructional modules for distance education for IGNOU and IUS, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Evaluated around 7 to 80 postgraduate and 30 to 40 doctorate dissertations, theses for more than 15 universities. She had been honored at national, international level, National Award for Women Empowerment, International Education Conference, IEC 2013, Agra. Indian Association of Teacher Education, IATE, honored her with an award of eminent professor on its 51st annual conference on teacher education, development, challenges and future perspective on 22nd December 2017. Ma'am, we are really proud to have you with us today, and we are very, very thankful to you that you have spent your time. You have accepted our invitation. Ma'am, here we have candidates who are aspiring principals. Either they are working principals or they are aspiring to become principals. Many of them are headmaster, headmistresses. Many are working even more than 3 decades in the same field in different capacities. So thank you so much, ma'am. And we request to kindly say a few words, the words of wisdom for educational world and the aspiring principals we have today. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
My God.
Just more. That is and lead. Let us in the school. Blending. Home. Blending it modern important. So blending online but what is happening?
Sound. I'm so sorry. Sound is.
Inspiring.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, the voice was breaking, but thank you so much for all your contribution. The branding is very important. The benchmarking is very important. Role model, becoming to be a role model is important. So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Keep on contributing.
Thank you. We'll some other record your message and then we'll float it on YouTube channel. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome, Vivek, sir. It's our pleasure to have such a great eminent personality, Dr. Sakuntala Madam, with us. Her experience in teachers training is phenomenal. Teachers training has evolved under her guidance, under her patronage, under her intervention. Now, with new education policy, national education policy which has come, things are totally different. Now, first time, government is ready to say, government is saying that we will change everything that is coming in between children learning and teaching. Now, emphasis on learning, not on teaching. Emphasis is there that every child come out from schools to be successful person in society, not with a degree. So time has gone that rote learning was important. Time has gone that
You are muted. Please unmute.
sorry. Now it has time that people should understand that the question of do and die. India has the largest population in the world of young people. They are already in the job market and will be taking job very soon. Whole world is aging. Our children have this capability to go and work at different part of the world. So to discuss all these issues, there cannot be any person better than Dr. B. Singh, sir. So we'll request you, sir. So please take it forward. And the aspiring principals which are there with us, they will be leader tomorrow. They are leader today itself when they are teacher are taking some role. But as a leader, what are should be something special in them and how they should take care. Please help us out.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Arun Prakash. And once again, we welcome all our eminent participants. We have Brigadier Vivek Sohal, who had been the brigade command of Maha Regiment. And the song composed by him is a national song for Maha Regiment. A lot of contribution, and now also he's doing a lot of service for the society. And many more friends. So friends, I'm going to talk on principal as a leader. We all have desire either to become a best principal or we are already working as principal. All of us have desire, expectation, target, but some of us become really a best principal or the role model, but in some cases there is a struggle. So how that struggle can be overcome, how we can change ourselves, what can be the roadmap for us? This is the question here. Friends, I hope all of you are taking running notes. You have pen and diary with you. You will be writing your questions in the chat box. The all powerful questions, keep writing in one side, and whenever there's a time or the break, kindly write down all questions. Audio should be kept off, but video should be on. And with this, friends, I want to start with a statement. When we say leader, the life as a leader begins the day when we realize that we are always a learner. So first of all, that stagnation is to be removed. That feeling of superiority, we can say the feeling of knowing everything is to be removed. We have to be a lifelong learner. Friends, a good leader inspires, influences, impacts. These three words are very, very important and very powerful. Leader inspires, motivates others, being a role model, and always taking lead from front. Not only that, a good leader always influences, creates a dent in the behavior or the thought process or the philosophy or the thinking pattern of the person. And not only that, good leader always creates an impact, a permanent change. The perception of seeing the things, the vision, it changes. Doing things differently, what Shiv Khera has said, leaders do not do different things, they do things differently. So same thing, how it can be done in different fashion, which one is working, many times it is very important. Same philosophy may or may not work in one day, in one situation, at one location. So we keep on trying. So therefore, good leader always has to have these three keywords as a success mantra. Friends, Martin Luther King Jr., he said, genuine leader is not a searcher of consensus, but a molder of consensus. So one has to create the consensus, one has to mold the consensus by logical thinking and impact. Friends, we all know there are three modes of education, prevalent modes, teacher-centered, learner-centered, and learning-centered. I'm not going in detail of this, but learning-centered education, NEP 2020, has given a lot of scope now to have learning-centered education. We all know there is a complete paradigm shift from what to learn to how to learn. So knowing the learning objectives, purpose of learning, attributes of learning, indicators, symptoms, and how to assess learning, how to have experiential learning, that is very, very important. Friends, these are 5 components of education basically. We all know information giving and knowledge giving is education, but not only that. It's understanding, comprehension. It's recall and review and reflection is important. But converting education into a skill is equally important. Converting every education into habits is required. And finally, every education become part of value system of our life. That is the ultimate goal of education, and so the highest component. So if these 5 components are taken care, then we can say there is a holistic education. Friends, we have to talk here. Principal is as a principal can have different roles basically. Principal as a leader can be edu leader, chief learning officer, facilitator, can be a manager, can be head of a school, can be process owner, or a chowkidar number 1. If principal is edu leader, it means he is combination of educator and a torch bearer. He is taking lead in every process. If principal is behaving like chief learning officer, it means he or she is a first learner, lifelong learner, academic leader in true sense. Principal can sometimes, many times works as facilitator also. But facilitating means creating resources, managing them, creating a learning environment, physical, social, emotional, psychological, all kind of learning environment. Or principal many times may work, some of the principal may work as manager, where he or she will control the things, direct and manipulate the resources. Or principal is working as HOS, head of institution, is in charge of everything, is a head teacher, the first contact. And the same time, principal can also be a process owner. There are 30 to 50 processes in any school. So executing those processes, reviewing them properly, analyzing them, ensuring their continual improvement is the expectation from a principal as a process owner. But many times, in spite of all these, very, very decorative ornaments and designations, basically we say the principal works as a chowkidar number 1, doing everything, coming first to the school, going in the last, doing a lot of policing, a lot of doing guarding, and so on. So friends, it is said whether leader is born or leader can be made. There are both kind of theories. Some believe leaders are born, there are inherited traits, and those who have, they can only be converted into leaders. But the other thought process says no, leaders can be created. So many of us, we are in this kind of process, and we have to reflect. We have to see what kind of leader we are. Friends, please keep writing your queries in the chat box, the powerful questions. We do not want to talk one way. We want to have interactive session. Therefore, kindly keep writing your queries. Either you are on YouTube or you are live on WebEx. Friends, let us talk leadership types. There are 7 types of leaderships, and we all have to introspect what kind of leader we are, what kind of leader we should be, what kind of leader we can be, and what kind of leader, how to become a kind of leader we want. So there can be, there are 7 types like charismatic, participative, situational, transactional, transformational, quiet leader, and servant leader. Charismatic leader always have great aura, theatrical sense, dint of personality, lot of charm. I remember we had many of us, 3 of us at least here. We know our role models. Mr. R.S. Lugani was the principal of DPS Arkipuram, very dedicated, sincere, and well recognized by the government of India and the president. Padma Vibhushan, all decorations. But when Mrs. Chona took over as a principal of DPS Arkipuram, she created a new world. She created a charisma of her presence. She created so much aura and the visibility in the entire world. When Supreme Court asked for one principal from Mr. Ganguly as the chairman of CBSE, instantly he remembered name of Mrs. Chona to be part of admission committee of nursery. So this is how some principals, they create charismatic figure. Principals, another kind of leadership can be participative. They consult each other, they empower, joint decisions are taken. There is a complete democratic system. Power sharing is done. A lot of delegation of authorities and responsibilities is done. Friends, there are situational leaders also who go as per the local requirements, internal, external factors. Their behaviors are influenced by the perception and the demography and the internal, external factors. Transactional leaders, on the other hand, they believe in rules and regulations. They create system of rewards and punishment. They set a lot of targets. They are hard masters. They judge a person or evaluate a person by the accountability and responsibility born or completed by the individual persons. So these are transactional. Transformational leader is the best one we can say, who develops futuristic vision, who has a lot of visibility, a lot of identity is created, branding is done, positioning is done, communicates at all levels very, very effectively, transforms people. Friends, quiet leader are the other type, who believe in actions and thoughts, who go by examples, who do not reprimand or scold people, but they do believe by taking lead from front. And last one, servant leaders, they exhibit deep desire to help people, always offer help, always keep asking, what can I do for you? So they themselves work a lot. So friend, these are 7 types of leaderships. As I said, we all have to correlate with our own personality and identify which leadership is best for me and how can I achieve it. Friend, there is another dimension. Boss versus leader is another very, very important aspect when we talk about leadership. Many times we do not know when we become boss. There's a very thin line between leadership and the bossism sometimes. But say there are distinctive differences also in the two. Boss is always leading from front, whereas leader is leading from front, whereas boss is always directing and pushing from the behind, which we can see in the picture also here. Boss make use of people, whereas leader always develops people There is a lot of mentoring, monitoring done. A lot of hand-holding is done. Leader is behaving like a friend, a well-wisher. One can confide very easily into that kind of leader. But boss is not giving liberty, not giving easy access also. Breakdowns, leaders always correct the breakdowns. They do not blame others, whereas bosses, they always keep blaming other people. Boss demands, whereas leader coaches. Boss relies on authority, whereas leader relies on goodwill. Boss gives ultimatums, leader creates enthusiasm. Boss believes and say I, whereas leader believe in and say always be we. Boss uses people as we heard seen earlier, whereas leader develops. Boss takes credit himself or herself, whereas leader always gives credit. Dr. Kalam's very famous example, when there was a failure of satellite, the Professor Satish Dhawan has taken blame on himself. And when after 1 year there was a complete success, he pushed Dr. Kalam to take the press conference, and the all credit was given to all subordinates by Professor Satish Dhawan. So, friends, boss creates say go, whereas leaders say let's go, and boss always uses leader always uses strength of unity. So, with these words, friends, I conclude my little talk by little do's and don't, which is in the message given by Bhagavad Gita, which says, if you do not fight for what you want, do not cry for what you have lost. Nothing depends on luck. Everything depends on work, because even luck has to work. So, friends, we all have to work and work systematically, consciously, knowingly, and mesmerizing people, taking care of relationships, heart to heart connections, transformational leadership. So, this is what I wanted to say. All the very best. Good luck. And I would love to answer your questions. Friends, before I conclude, let me also share with you few words which you have written while sending us Google Forms. There are good accomplishments we found in many of you, like British Council Award, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's Award. Somebody said, I'm a good listener. NEET examination center superintendent, good team player, doubled strength in 2 years' time, attended many conferences of national, international level, converted online classes into very effective classes, managing a school for 32 years, 21 years, passion for all kind of activities, scholastic and post-scholastic, and so on. And then expectations you had given us already, how new courses can be offered. There are limited resources, but how to create a basket of open basket of many subjects, or in the vocation, and also how to remove frustration and so on. So thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Arun Prakash.
Thank you, sir. It's a real pleasure to listen you. After Dr. Sakuntala ma'am, you have set the tone of the discussion and described what should be a leader. Friends, those who are present here, Dr. B. Singh belonged to a group of principals who has inspired a generation and generation. We all had been trained under him, and whatever we are today is because of copying somewhere, whatever we can manage to copy, his style, his working, his way of doing things. We are fortunate that we have Mr. Sukhwant Singh Thapar. Mr. Thapar was there with me, with Dr. B. Singh, as he was our mentor, our principal. And both of us are fortunate in one way that we have worked only under Dr. B. Singh, and after that we become principal. We learned from him and implementing in our career, our life. The best thing what we have noticed in Dr. B. Singh sir, and which we all should know, that he does the things and then expects people to copy, not that he preaches and gives things that do this issue circular and memos. We had minimum meetings. We had meetings at the time of examination. We had times before competitions. We had very, very minimum meetings. But most of the time, we used to learn the way he has been doing things. But there are some special qualities which a principal should have. Principal should be leader, leader should be have, sir has explained very beautifully. But what are the basic things we feel a principal should have? Or let us put in that on the other way, what things we should cultivate in ourselves so that we become a good principal, we remain a good principal, and more than good principal, we motivate people to lead as an edu leader at different capacity, including principal. So we have with us Mr. Sukun Singh Thapar. He's a principal, Delhi Public School, Nigahi. He had been working with DPS Society since beginning. We joined around 85, 86, 87, 87 precisely we joined in DPS Korba. Then he joined DPS Nigahi as a founder principal. And from admitting children to taking such a large number of students with giving results which are parallel to none, his contribution to the field of education is enormous. But why we are requesting Mr. Thapar to discuss with us on very particular aspect, that many of the teachers who were working, and I was talking to him and he was telling around 16 teachers who were working with him in his school is today principal. So he might have noticed something in them, or there may be something which you feel that should be good. So that he should do. Mr. Thapar, I'll be sharing your PPT.
Okay.
So you can start discussing with attributes of a good principal. What you feel are the good attributes and which principals should have. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Arun Prakash, and good evening to B. Singh sir, Rajinder Marula ma'am, Nagpal ma'am, she's still there, and good evening to all the participants. Good evening to Sohail sir also. We are meeting for the first time. We hope to hear from you also soon, sir, in this very session. And yes, rightfully said by Dr. Arun Prakash, my friend, about Dr. B. Singh. We had the opportunity of learning through his examples that he set for us. And we had the opportunity of being under his guidance from 87 to 95. And now once again, the online facilities have brought us back to him. And I'm sure under your guidance, we are yet to learn so many things from you. And one thing which we always were eager to be in his company whenever we were doing work, he used to share various experiences of his working in DPS Archipuram. He had joined, I believe, if I remember, I think from 77 onwards we were there at DPS Archipuram, and he used to share all his experiences, and we were avid listeners. Whatever he used to say, we used to just try to imbibe those things for DPS Korba. And as said by Dr. Arun, from Korba also, there are more than I think 15 principals, 15 staff members who have become principals, and they are in various schools like Delhi Public Schools, DAV, and other places. Who is the case in
Sukhan, Mr. Thapar, just I want to intervene 1 minute, sir. It's something came in my mind and I want to discuss with you.
okay,
Sukhman,
sure.
sir, just 1 second. We are discussing various attributes of the principal. What I feel, these things are easily available on internet and with everyone. And
Exactly.
most of the principal, those who have reached to this level that they are discussing, may be quite well aware of that. Why don't you tell something which you have learned from Dr. Singh, which you have trained your teachers, and
Great
which
idea.
I have done? Why don't we discuss something which we have seen among the people, which are the attributes which should be practical? Let us talk about practically which we have noticed, which we learned, which we imbibed in ourselves, which we develop in ourselves, and which we develop in the people who had worked with us. Same way as you are telling 16 people to with you, around 20-25 persons who have whom either worked with me or whom I appointed as a teacher. They are school leaders all
Many
over
of
the country.
many of them.
So why don't we discuss some of the things? Let me start something, then I'll come back to you. When we were
Sure.
working in Korba, both of us were staying, in fact, with Mr. Jha, we were staying in one quarter, and we all were fighting that who is getting maximum responsibility in a school to work.
So true. So true.
This is what we had noticed, and not only we two or we three, entire team of DPS Korba was unhappy if any work is not given to X person, it was given to Y only, why not others? Generally, this is not the case in most of the places. Senior leadership or even other leaders try to avoid taking responsibilities. So how you take this? How this contributes to the development of a principal or aspiring principal into a good principal in future? So can you please elaborate on this?
Yes, I think what if I had when we look back into the past, DPS Korba, or even at my school, I feel the rotation of the duties that was done by Dr. B. Singh over there in Korba. That is, say, for a year or two, one was examination in charge, and then examination in chargeship was taken away, and we were given something else, inter-house competition in chargeship, so on and so forth. So, rotating these duties among the teachers is no doubt a bit cumbersome for the principal. But if the principal is ready to take on these extra efforts, like when, suppose, I've seen few schools where a person has been examination in charge for almost 15 years, 20 years. So that makes the work easier for the principal, but the growth part for other staff members is not there. This is what I believe. So I think every year, if we change uh, the chargeships of various duties, there are multiple benefits of the same. That is, we are growing a team of teachers who can be used in various places for various things. And I strongly feel that since we got this opportunity to have worked in these various areas, it has made our work of principalship very easy because we know the pros and cons. I'm not appreciating you or myself, but I think it's a logical thing. Another factor that Dr. B. Singh ended his presentation was with the quote from Gita, which I would like to highlight. That is, he said, nothing depends on luck. Everything depends on work, because even luck has to work. A wonderful quote from Gita shared by Sir, and that reminded me of Steve Jobs' quote, wherein he says, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And then again, when we talk of loving your work, it takes us to Khalil Gibran, where in the book, in his famous book of the Prophet, he has elaborated about what it means to work in love, where he has tried to give few examples. He says, working with love is like a weaver weaving a cloth, imagining that the cloth will be worn by his beloved, or a house builder making a house, keeping in mind that his beloved will stay in that house. So if we have that in our mind, then our work will have meaning and it will prove to be great. So I really feel like, for example, if you allow me, I can share an example about what I said a little earlier. That is, since we had worked in various fields, how it has become easier. Now, if I give one example, I think all other teachers who are there will be able to connect also. I can give you example of a periodic test schedule that we conduct in the school. Every week we conduct a Monday test or Tuesday test in all Delhi public schools. There, when the teachers go for doing the invigilation duty inside the room, and then they return. I'm talking of the times when the pre-COVID period, when these tests were being conducted inside the classroom. I hope the situation becomes normal and we again start doing that. In that, what had happened was, one of the teachers who was looking after this weekly test in chargeship, he had come to me and said, "Sir, the rule that you have made, where you're giving us 5 minutes time, where the teachers have to come and the invigilators come and hand over the books to the test copies to the class teachers, and the class teachers hand it over to the invigilators. So it becomes a little difficult. It will be difficult. It was just beginning that in chargeship. He said, sir, it will be difficult. Why don't you just ask everyone to leave the copies with me, and by break time, I'll call all the teachers and hand over the test copies to them. Since I had worked on this particular chargeship in DPS Korba, I was knowing that it is not difficult. And later on, when this was seen by the teacher, in 5 minutes time, because set of suppose whatever number of teachers who go for invigilating, they themselves are, among themselves, they are class teachers, among themselves, they are subject teachers. So all that they have to do is go into a control room, hand over the books to the subject teachers, to the class teachers, and class teachers, since they have the record of the attendance, they mark the slip, they fill the slip of how many absent students were absent, and hand over the bundle to the subject teacher among themselves. So that used to make work very easy. Similarly, I would advise that aspiring principals to get involved in the task that your leaders, that is your principals, provide you. And another thing, since we have named this particular session as NEP Aspiring Principals, I again believe that NEP or the previous part, new education, we are all going to work under new education policy. But previously also those of us who were principals or teachers, if we were not good leaders earlier, NEP is not going to make us good leaders. So the leadership has to be something which needs to be there in your heart. That is, you need to have a desire. And for that, you need to work hard. You need to be a good learner, as Sir said. A leader is a good learner. So we should never shy away from learning. A good principal should also, I feel strongly that the circulars, there are so many circulars which come from the board which we have to implement. So if you are not having the reading skill as a leader, you will be a little lost. But if you have the reading skill, if you don't mind and reading through the pages of circulars that come to us from the board or from the state in which we are functioning, then we will not be able to have a good control over everyone. Control here doesn't mean you need to dominate. Control means you need to understand what you are doing. You need to read the circulars and then hand it over. We need to learn to delegate. Once the work is delegated, you can monitor those people pretty well once you have understood the
तो ये
subject.
बोला करो ना हरीश सर को,
So, there
भरत को बोला करो ना,
is
जाने
each
दो
a curriculum
थोड़ा सा नाश्ता
for
करके आता था,
delegating it to others.
हम लोग
And
ऐसे ही
then,
क्या,
as a principal, like Dr. P
जिसको
said,
आता है ना वो बोल
our
दिया
strengths and weaknesses, accordingly gave us our task. And we always try to prove in front of him that we are able to perform the task given by him. So I feel as a leader, we need to understand our team properly. When we are going into the classroom as a class teacher, we understand who is to be made class monitor, who is to be made class diary, homework monitor, uniform monitor. Similarly, as a leader of the school, we need to understand uh, who has which strength which you can utilize. So that knowledge also is very necessary. There is a beautiful book. I think Who Moved My Cheese or Who Ate My Cheese. I'm not able to recall. Uh, I think Who Moved My Cheese by uh, Dr. Spencer. That we need to read that book, in which there are 4 characters. Those characters had different nature. They were Scurry and Sniff. They were able to realize the problems that were going to come up. They are in the form of mice in that story. And then there are 2 little human beings named Hem and Haw. So they have a different character. And once you read that story, I think as leaders, please go through it. It's a very small book. Who ate my cheese or who moved my cheese? So once you read that, you will understand that it's very important to understand the strengths and weaknesses of your team members so that you can put them into the right use. And as we advise the teachers, the subject teachers, that while they are teaching inside the classroom, as we have to help the slow learners. Similarly, in case we have certain slow learners, we need to motivate them. We need to say counsel them and try to give them tasks. At times, I feel strongly that we fail in assessing a person by not giving him a task. So once we give a task, I often see the ones whom we had been underestimating, they turn out to be very good. So those things we need to keep trying as leaders. And I think since we are not using the PowerPoint presentation, I hope my speech is not becoming a speech for everyone. So Arun, you can also contribute here.
Sukhwant, here I wanted to say something. Yes, PowerPoint we are not using purposely. That's good. That's correct. But what I want to say that one thing you notice and one thing you said, a principal, aspiring principal or present principal who want to do and does maximum work in the time when they are teacher or in charge, they are most successful in their life. That's the one thing which you told and which we have noticed. So any person who want to become a principal should have one thing in their common. So try to grab as much work as possible from the school. What happens that most of us, when we are young, we have lot of other things to do. When we become middle aged, we become little lethargic. When we want to do something great, that time we become so adjusted with our situation, hardly we grab great opportunities, something coming. So first thing a principal has to be there, principal should grab whatever maximum work can do. You, Dr. B. Singh sir have learned, and all the people who have been working together with us, we have taken almost every responsibility of our school one or other point of time. And at a time, we were sharing 4, 5, 6 responsibilities as well. Now, if you make one person examination in charge, he comes with 10 different work. Sir, I have this work, I have this home responsibility, I have that home responsibility. Dr. B. Singh sir has created that aura that we were fighting for the work and we were trying to do maximum. So today you and me are many of the principal who are here today, they can see they have done everything one other point of time as in charge. Secondly, very often we may not be in charge, but we go and inform, we can go and start helping other person. What Dr. B. Singh was telling other day, his house was very close to the DPSRK Puram. And when evenings school was over, senior teachers were working, he used to go there and help whoever needs some work. And in this process, we learn a lot. So that is one thing that we all should know, we all should understand, we all should get in us, that we should try to do, try to know, try to understand as much work, as much things are possible. This is one point we wanted to discuss with you, and you have very beautifully elaborated this area.
And here I would like to add one more thing, if you allow.
Please.
As you are saying that we need to do work with interest and love, I was knowing how to type, and we had worked during the days when we had to write, or we used to not even write, we used to cut the stencil. In order to roll out question papers, teachers used to cut the stencil. And those were the days when computers had just come in, and majority of the teachers were not permitted to go inside the computer lab. And I remember Arun and we had taken permission for doing something extra. And my excuse of getting into the computer lab used to be, I had taken the extra responsibility of typing the question papers of the weekly test, all the question papers. So that used to give me opportunity of working on computers. And Arun used to do many experiments on how to take out printouts and all those. I'm talking of say 90s, 91, 92. And that's how we learned many things of how to prepare file, how to work on a Word file, and how to take out the printout when other teachers were not able to. We were able to do many things on computers in spite of not being computer teacher at all. Jay Mohanty used to be there as computer teacher, and two of us, we used to always be with them and doing something or other over there, and thereby utilizing the time to even roll out the stencils. So the quality of the question papers has also become better. So that's something that we need to do.
Yes, Sukhwendra, you are correct. So what second attribute we discuss, that a leader or aspiring person should not shy away, should go and get the things done and try to do as much things as possible without hesitating to take risk, chartering to the area, territory which is not their forte. Generally, we become very complacent. We work in our cell. We are so much conscious about being fail that risk taking is somewhat left. And when we want to work in a safety net, the new innovation, new working style, new things create problem in future. So one thing I have noticed, generally many principal don't want to lose their senior most teacher to go to other school as in charges. Because if you are sending someone as a principal, he may be second or third in command, certainly must be sharing lot many responsibilities.
Yes.
And most of the time, principal hesitate to send second in command because 50% thinks now you have to train something else. So and you have sent many teachers of your own. I have sent many teachers of our own who were the senior most. I used to say, if I'll send you to some other place, your salary, your things will increase 20% and my result will increase 25%. Because the new person I'll train in different way, whatever we have learned from you, something new will come. So I personally believe if one person leaves, new person we can do things much better if we give good situation to create good situation. So as a principal and also as a aspiring principal, what should be done that principal should not hesitate to someone or say, why only second in command? Why not third? Why not fourth? What is stopping people to create many and many more leaders? What do you feel on this issue?
I always keep myself also in that situation. There was a time when I was working as a senior PGT and DPS Korba, and when this opportunity had come, you were the in-charge principal over there, if you remember. Salman Khurshid used to send few messages through you to ask me to take over few schools, and I was always reluctant. You were the one who pushed me to go ahead, and otherwise probably I might have retired happily as senior PGT of DPS Korba without minding it. But still, this opportunity that came my way, and I got to become principal of DPS Nigai. Now, when I have been working with my teachers, I always keep myself in their place, and I feel that when this opportunity is coming for them, we should rather make way for them to get on to uh, their leadership opportunities, so that they also grow in their status, and thereby, as you are saying, that the new teachers can be always trained to become better.
To friends, I can just remind, I remember that when I was in DPS society, I was talking to secretary, and question came for the principal to DPS Nigahi. I told I'm sending Sukhwant. That time even I have not discussed with him whether he's willing, is ready or not. I told, okay, I'm going and I'm telling him he will come and meet you and he will join the principal DPS Nigahi. And that has been happening with me. Many principal, like I remember one principal whom I recommended to DPS society. When he was not in DPS, when we reached to DPS society, his appointment letter was ready. His interview was conducted later on. That much confidence people had seen. So that confidence, if your seniors have on you, or you have confidence with the people who are working with you, I feel one thing is very important in this issue. Generally, people are very insecure. Principals, teachers, and second and third and fourth in command also. So they feel if I am doing this thing, no one else should know that. If I am getting this responsibility, no one else should be closer to this. If I can do it beautifully, I should hide in such a way that no one else will be able to do that. In this process, if vice principal or senior most person has make himself or herself so good for the school, principal will not send him out. So first things what a person should do, he should or she should create second, third, fourth, fifth people who would be ready to take items, things in a school, not only one person. If one person, you very rightly said, why only one examination in charge 20 years? There'll be 20% taking 20 different years. So every time you have one examination in charge, you have another test in charge ready, you have another timetable in charge ready. So it should be rotated, that's one part. At the same time, teachers also should feel that growth is vertical. This is the biggest problem in education line. All educators feel that if they are growing, it means you are growing on cost of others. And if others are growing, it means somewhere your growth is retarded. It's not that.
It never happens.
B. Singh sir want to say something, please.
Let us ask participants one or two reactions at least.
Okay. Okay, on that basis, we can discuss our course applications. Please, participants, please, you can unmute yourself and say some questions, ask some questions, or even panelists, if you all are Deepti and Narula ma'am and other principals who are they can raise some questions. We can discuss some of the, and if they can share some of their experiences, which helps aspiring principal to do that. Narula ma'am and Deepti will be listening, and they'll be talking about the examples, which are the real life examples. So please. Participants, please ask some questions which you want to say, or you can write in chat box as well.
We would love if somebody can speak some questions or some comments or some focus areas you want next group of speakers to highlight?
Before someone speaks,
Surabhi Mathur ma'am, Monali Thakkar, Dr. Namita Mathur, so Dharmender Kumar, Chandni Kinger, Shaheed Nurul. I got two questions. I'll answer after their session is over.
Having a
Those
question,
two
sir.
questions. Yes.
Sir, please.
Sir, everyone may not be as lucky as Thapar, sir. He got a true mentor like Dr. Arun Prakash in his life. In that case, sir, what will be your suggestion? To just concentrate on whatever work we are getting at present, or try to explore something different?
Sir, can I answer this?
Sir, a wonderful
And he's
question.
asking. Yes, Deepti, please answer.
It's a wonderful question, sir, because being a psychologist, I talk to many people, and most of the people tell me कि मैम luck जो है ना उसके आगे किस्मत के आगे कुछ काम नहीं करता है. So people are lucky, so things happen to them. But there is another theory behind it, sir. Luck happens to the people who put in hard work and who work towards it. जो हमारी first presentation में भी बात हुई थी. So, kai baar, when we are putting an effort, we have a hidden motive and a hidden agenda behind it. हम कुछ भी करते हैं school में as a teacher. So we have a hidden motive that I have to make my principal happy, or I have to make my charge happy, and I have to win that person. So I need to put in effort. So if my intentions is just that to make people happy, and that's why I'm working, the direction of your effort will be different. But if your intention, जो अभी अरुण प्रकाश सर ने ये बोला कि जो भी अपॉर्चुनिटी मुझे मिले, I am a psychologist by profession in my school, but believe me, I right from admissions to the virtual tour of the school to interacting with the new admissions to doing everything, whichever comes to my platter. My policy is always on a yes mode when I'm working. So I do not weigh I am a head of the department, but I do not weigh whether I should be doing it at my level or I should be delegating it to somebody who's junior to me. So the intention has to be in the yes mode when it comes towards the work, and the work has to be the primary thing, not that to make people happy I have to work. So जब ये दो चीजें हम करेंगे और consciously करेंगे, not that कि मतलब this has to come from within. सिखाया नहीं जा सकता, ये आपको खुद experience करना होगा. So probably someday or the other, the luck will come your way. That's my answer.
very good.
Deepti, I want to supplement something here. I'll give two examples. Sukhwant, when we invited Salman Khurshid sir in our annual function, you were comparing, and there was a comment from Salman Khurshid sir, what is this person doing here? He wanted to say you belong to be the best of best school of the country and you can be taken anywhere. This is what his comment. I'll take your permission to give one example. When Pyarelal Kanwar ji came in our school as a deputy chief minister, unfortunately meeting our function when we were supposed to come at 6:30 or 7, he came around 10:30, and we had to drag our annual function so long so that we can, Deepti is smiling, she may be remembering, we had to continue 4-5 hours. We had sent some people to bring him, and it was beyond his capacity to bring Pyarelal ji, because first time he has come to his constituency after becoming deputy chief minister. So it was not even his capacity to come. But one comment DGM has done to Sir Bising sir, he said, oh, why did not you send Arun Prakash to bring him? He could have brought. I could have made difference or not, that's a totally different issue. By observing me or observing Sukhwant, elders could observe something in you. So when you say mentors are there, why I recommended Mr. Thapar, or why Mr. B Singh recommended me, or why XYZ I recommended, there is something spark in that person which is visible. Very often, as Deepti very rightly said, we do only to please someone. We do something to come in limelight. We do something to present ourselves so that people will do. So we ourselves presenting and we doing inside are two different persons. When you become a good, honest worker, it will be reflected, it will be seen, it will be observed everywhere, and there may be one person to recommend you one other place. This is one aspect. Now, you, Mr. Thapa, don't need Arun Prakash, or Arun Prakash don't need anyone today, because this is the time of internet. You make your digital footprints so much well known that people will search and bring you two opportunities. Like this time when we are doing, in fact, we wanted to share in the last. In fact, this type of principles program which we are doing, this is one also agenda from us, that we are getting many requests from schools and school leaders that recommend some principles. Maybe the people who will interact today, people who will ask some question, people will ask some relevant questions, that also will give some idea this person is somewhat good, we may study further. So wherever, what I wanted to say, wherever opportunity come forward. If you see some comment, something happening in any activity, write a small note, upload in your Facebook, make in your blog, whatever photographs you are liking, whatever videos you are liking, that may be seen by your prospective employer tomorrow. These people are overlooking. All the big companies appoint and gives the HR person to do background check, and now background check is on the basis of what you like in Facebook, what comments you like back, what you comment, what you react, how you present yourself. So that is another thing. So if you write good articles, hundreds of articles, may not be in newspaper, but in your own blog. If you write a lot, your name will come again and again. If you tag yourself at many places with good article, you'll be seen. So with the digital era, you can make yourself so available to everywhere that people will search you. Yes, with some mentor, someone available helps, but that helps only when you are capable. I could have never gone and recommended any other person other than Mr. Thapar in that lot, because I found he is the most suitable for doing anything else. And that happened because that time, if I recommend someone who is not a good principal, my own position will be at stake. Maybe next day I'll be thrown out. 3% I send and they are not good. I'll be thrown out. What you are doing? Perhaps you are not able to judge the people. And if I send 5% in society and 5 are successful and doing very good, my color become up. Oh, talk to Arun, he is good judgment doing. So it's all on you, how you present yourself, but that does not mean suing only outside, doing right things. And today's date of digital time, how much knowledge can be acquired from everywhere? We can should do. Any other question, please? And then we can go to Rajinder ma'am and Deepti ma'am to take it further. They are so experts. We should listen experts. We are just novice. We are trying our level best, but they are real experts in their field.
I'll just like to add on over here. I would also recommend the book of Thomas Friedman, The World is Flat. In that, he mentions about becoming untouchable. Not the untouchables that we know of in the Indian context. By untouchables means what Dr. Arun Prakash was just recommending, that make your presence so good everywhere that you will get noticed. And in the online scenario, there are enough opportunities now where you can excel. If you are good in your subject, you have learned the online knack of being present on through these sessions. So conduct these sessions so well that it gets noticed. And once it gets noticed, the sky is the limit for you. And one more thing, keep your social presence neat enough, good enough, educative enough. Don't put across things which do not suit your level. Just the other day, one boy from our school, Anjani, was there in the school. He had cleared his IS. He's working in Jharkhand cadre now. So in the morning assembly last year that he attended, he told the students, he told his friends that it's not that after becoming IS officer, you will start having a good behavior. Your behavior has to be inborn, right from beginning. Even inside the classroom also, his behavior used to be very good one. He used to be very balanced boy. So this is what I think is there. It holds true for all of us. Maintain yourself, and surely you all will rise. Thank you.
Dr. Singh and Dr. Prakash, may I have
Ji.
the opportunity to say something?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Hello. Hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Sir.
I'm from here, and the discussion until now with a lot of friends. And I have been part of the school ecosystem for some time, briefly. Not like you all, you absolute pundits in your area. I would like to say something broadly about the leadership. Running some leadership workshops, particularly at the principals level, strategic workshop, leadership workshop. I have been asking to convert leadership in one word. If you have to your leadership in, I got answers. I also asked this admission. So I was doing that. At that level, the youngsters were only enthralled with influence and impact and success and hierarchy and things like that. About initiative. Ultimately, if you ask me for one word, I would like to explain the leadership is responsibility. And responsibility means you are always responsible for everything that is happening or not happening, and how it can be made to be a causal chain into something come up, and that is the aim of the leadership. So what is actually required is that the strongest view of what you are into, and that takes, as far as I'm concerned, is the leadership and is the responsibility, overarching sense of responsibility. So many questions that keep bothering us. When you talk about leadership, we have to look at it that first self. What are my potential? What are my experience spectrum? What has it taught me? What are the entire gamut of and formal education that I've got all. Where is it leading me? What kind of intuitive intelligence it has worked in me? Take that and start listening to voice inside that will tell us, okay, this is the way, this is how I was for myself in this life. I'm from the you all would have about Chetwood motto. It is written there in the IMA and the Chetwood Hall. The
So you got muted. You got muted, sir.
Chetwood, yeah. It says of your country comes first. the honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command. And your own ease, comfort, and safety comes last, always and every time. This I that I'm talking about. It was why so many Indian Army officers gave their lives before a Jawan gave. This is what is needed to be inculcated in potential. Because ultimately, she is a teacher. She is a leader in the eyes of her students. The role whom the student will always remember for whatever she has been able to impart to them. Quality, it is mandate. It has to be there, and very rightly so, whether leaders are born or they are there. In any group of people, you will find people who have that innate sense of leadership, innate responsibility, innate sense of initiative and self-confidence and vision. But if they given the inspiration, they'll be, you can guide them to become good leaders. So when you're there, I mean, you're given interesting and worthy examples of how you all under Dr. Singh and under Dr. Have come up to the levels that you have. We all have our own stories. And wherever you are, you will always be able to find out who's a natural leader. But our responsibility towards everybody. So it is about, first of all, it is leading self and then leading others. That is the second step. And the second step is when you know that you're turn your teachers into leaders, to transfer the leadership qualities into all the to become a leader of life. There is a leadership requirement begging to be addressed every moment of whether we are in the public space or home, in our business life, corporate life, in our education schools, wherever we addressed. But we don't have leaders. So we have to lead others so that then they can lead others. By doing so, the third step is leading the environment. And that is a question of developing a vision. I will recommend very strongly to all the principals that are here. You are the most important figures in life. So I will request you all other smaller things, sir, please do read up into appreciative inquiry. I'll briefly tell you about what appreciative inquiry is. You know, it presupposes just problem. When we get into the problem-solving mode of leadership, the problem is that it will keep multiplying. You have come out problem, you'll get into another problem. You are very good at solving all the problems. You will be able to solve maybe out of 100 problems. But that still doesn't take you far. What is needed is just as the problem multiplies or feeds the next self, the hope, the optimism, the confidence, they also feed on themselves. They also, can we create an environment of hope and confidence and positivity and optimism in the environment? And that can be done through appreciation. It basically presupposes 5 steps. I mean, there is a whole, first of all, of course, you have to identify vision of the school. And that vision should be a shared vision. Everybody. So it cannot be just sit down at one night and start writing down. No, vision and builds into a common shared vision for all, which everybody will own in all circumstances, come what may. And if that happens, everybody is together. And it's very easy to lead because you don't have to lead. Everybody is leading self, everybody is leading each other. Here, I mean, the steps are that in that you if you go through it, you want to be, and then you have to discover where you the best of what you already are. You may not be wrong all the time. There's so much good in you. What could be, and then design of what should be, the design process, and finally deliver, and then the process continues. Now, I was talking about there is a book of the leader who is hardly known. It's written by a person known as Stephen Simpson. He was a disciple of John Dewey, the foremost educationist of in pragmatism in America, early 20th century. And he's quoted Paul Dewey very extensively. In this particular book, he has banked a lot on the Tao philosophy. And leaders should make things happen without anybody feeling that leader is there. If you can reach that stage, there's so much of humility, so much of modesty involved in that. There's so much of professional skill involved in that. I'll recommend you all, if you could read that, you'll find we have been able to our principals and teachers at that level, and whatever they pass on to the children will actually go into life very, very long in lifelong education. So these are some of the, and the kind of leaders that we have. We have talked about democratic leaders, participative leaders, and other things. They're all very correct things, experience practiced over a period of time, and theorized as such. So I suggest that let us know about these kind of leadership traits or these kind of leaders that you have, the classification, only in retrospect. Okay, he is life, he was that kind of a leader. But it should not be taken forward. No, okay, I will try to become democratic type of leader. I will try to become autocratic. It's not like that. It's ultimate aim of my leadership and what are my strengths and weaknesses and how I can achieve that aim. And so whatever I adopt is the best for you. And then you changing yourself, you keep adapting yourself, you keep molding yourself. So this is how we move. I think we should talk about the leadership that turns into kind of a stereotyping. So we must allow the subordinates whom we are preparing to be leaders find out what they are. Thank you so much. You've given me a lot of time. So I hope.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Wonderful ideas you have given. Wonderful. I think let us hand over to Deepti ma'am and Rajinder Narula ma'am now, and give me 5 minutes in the end to answer those two queries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sir, can you repeat the name of the book of John Dewey's disciples?
You asked to me?
Yes, sir.
No.
If you can write
the
in the
book
chat
that I
box.
mentioned, a leader who is hardly known. The leader, I'll write down here. The leader who is hardly.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So a very good evening to all the lovely friends. Though I can't see anybody's face, but I'm sure everybody must be looking lovely and warm. Delhi is cold. And Nirula ma'am, a very good evening to you as well. Ma'am is in Washington, D.C. right now in US. And she's gracious enough early morning. मैम की अभी morning हो रही है जब वो हमारे लिए उठी हुई है, and she's going to answer few of our queries. So Nirula ma'am, with your vast experience and the wonderful experience that you had with as a student, as a teacher, and then as a principal and as a mother. So all this experience together, keeping it together, what do you think is the 21st century school leaders' skills that are required to be a good leader? What should be the skills that I should have? Ma'am, you're muted. Can't hear you. Yeah.
Share also?
You can share your slide. So meanwhile, those who have known Nirula ma'am, she has been working with the ma'am DAVs, am I right?
Yeah, I've been with the DAVs as well as I was for a long period of time with the Ryan group of schools. Yeah.
So under
Before that, I am actually a product of DPS also. My journey started with DPS, but
Great.
was a short period of time. And but then for almost 20 years, I was with the Ryan group of schools, and I was a founder member for the Noida school. And that's how carried on to then DAVs.
Lovely. So, ma'am, we all are aspiring to be leaders here. So, what do you think should be the top 3-4 qualities that as a leader I should have, and how to imbibe those qualities if I don't have those qualities?
See here, Dipti, I would come to the what actually is being talked about these days, because these are precise and concise ways by which the skills which we can bring into our children, that will also be our skills. Yeah.
Ma'am, your
So-
PPT is not visible. Are you sharing
Visible?
PPT? It's not visible.
Yeah. I'm already sharing, sir.
It's blank screen is coming, ma'am, actually.
Blank screen is there. It's not visible.
Just a second.
So, meanwhile, if I may ask a question to the audience, I work with the school system, and the latest issue, yeah.
And now it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. You were asking something.
Yes, ma'am. We can continue with the skills first. I would like to have some skills.
Yeah. See, these skills which we are talking about are actually the skills which the principal herself will have. Then only will be able to pass on to her children, right? So if she herself is creative, a critical thinker, communicates well, collaborates well, then that skill will be passed on. So according to me, these are the skills which a principal needs to have. Why a critical thinking or a problem solving attitude or a skill a person has to have in us if we want to lead, right? If I or you are a principal in that chair, because it teaches us to seek the truth. Question which is given as a command to us. Question something which is, it has a kind of an element of skepticism in it. Empowers the person to question the norms. So a critical thinker is a better leader, right? A creative person, because a creative person can think in a very unique way of his or her own, not to follow the herd, kind of thinking which is going around in the society, but can have his or own unique way of thinking, is a creative person, and that can be a great leader who can communicate himself or herself very well, is a great leader. See, in today's time, communication has become so very important right now. We are not in front of each other. We are far away from each other, sitting in some corners of the world. But if we are effectively able to take our point across, that effective communication is highly important as skill as it adds value. It's a value addition to the person's persona. And then collaboration. In today's scenario, collaboration, teamwork, building teams is the greatest onus on the person who's leading as a principal, or he aspires to be a principal. If he or she is always me, myself, that does not go. If he talks about collaboration, I becomes we, and that gives a value addition to the person. So,
ma'am, this brings me to a point. I have a question for the audience here.
okay.
Now, in the school system, we all are working with school and we deal with students. So let's look at all the 3 C's. And here the question to the audience would be, I have a school of 300 students giving the board exams this year. Usme se about 20 or 40 of them have not given the practical files in spite of teachers being requesting and giving deadlines after deadlines to them. They still haven't given the practical file. So with this problem, this teacher has now come to you being the head of the school, the principal. How would you tackle this situation? Now keep all the 4 C's in mind and think of a solution. Anybody from the audience? Enough of our talking now. I want the audience to now answer.
Yeah, everyone
would like to
ideas
answer
pouring
it?
in.
I suppose the audience should be able to answer. 300 students appearing in board exam 12. Many have not submitted their practical notebooks. So what is the solution you are asking?
Yeah. So being the
Yes.
school principal, as a teacher, I have approached you कि सर मैं तो थक गई हूँ, मैंने बच्चों के घर पे फोन कर लिया है.
Meenakshi ma'am has written work has to be done in the school itself. Why did teacher wait till last day?
Okay.
One answer.
गलती हो गई. Please suggest what do I do? If you could unmute Meenakshi ma'am and answer, it would be lovely to hear your voice.
Meenakshi ma'am, would you like to say something more?
Yeah, yes, sir. Certainly, actually, practical work, all the experiments should have been done simultaneously. I mean, it's a fault of the teacher only. Why did she, waited till the last date? It has been started since the beginning of the session. So she just relies only at the last moment when there was practical. So,
Okay.
And this was a problem at the end of the principal as well. Being a principal, she should have taken regular feedback, like about the completion of the work also. Maybe monthly, maybe fortnightly, maybe whatever it is feasible, maybe quarterly. Proper report should have been submitted by the teacher for all the students.
Okay. So it means that the planning में defective हो सकता है. That is one. Planning missing है completely. Communication नहीं हो पाया. Starting में pace maintain नहीं किया गया.
Yes, sir. As you have always in your previous sessions also, you always talk about annual plans, long-term planning, short-term planning, quarterly planning. You only insist all those things. And even I have also started implementing in my school also. The teachers have to give the monthly report for the students' work submission, and then and there, you see, we have to take the necessary steps, whatever is required.
Okay. So Dipti got answer? Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You're very right. Yeah.
So yes, we agree. It has to be done timely. And then this, because of pandemic, the children were not coming to school. So we had to be more cautious about our communication with the students. Because if we keep our communications open with the students and if some of the principals would have visited the classroom scenario and asked or spoken to and communicated with students, she or he would have known better about the scenario of what's happening with the status of the practical files. Right. So, Nerula ma'am, another thing, you wanted to share certain competencies and certain learning strategies for our
Yes.
principals. So,
Yeah. See, if you can see on the left-hand side, I have put the 21st century curriculum in front of you. And on the right-hand side are the learning strategies. In today's scenario, in the 21st century, everything needs to be student-centered. It can be an oft-repeated word, but it is a real reality where the student has to be in the focus, not the teacher. It has to be inquiry-based. In the child, questions of what and where and how and why I am doing this. Why that questioning skill. Inquiry leads to questioning. So that why and how will I go about this? That learning strategy the teacher has to follow, then only a school will be a vibrant school in today's scenario. It can be through problem solving, it can be through projects. Well, it's your wish, but inquiry, the infusing of inquiry in the child's mind is highly important. And then connect whatever teaching you are doing with the real world context. If you are not connecting your day-to-day teaching, the topic and the subtopic with the real world, then it's not making sense to the learner of today. Now I can give you little examples. For example, in math class, she can conduct a kind of a plan where a fundraising has to be done, right? For a cause, an XY cause, a fundraising has to be done. But then here the child has to be given an idea that how much profit will be made and how you don't have to go beyond, you don't have to surpass your income and still get some profits. You know, if you are connecting your teaching with an application or a real life context, then it becomes wonderful. For example, in English, take children out to observe. Fine, we use, now we cannot, but we can take them on a virtual tour. Even in geography, if you are taking the children on a virtual tour, ask in the English class to, write a paragraph or an essay using all the adjectives, all the adverbs which are coming into their mind. Or senior children can be asked to become experts. Can behave like a psychologist the way you are a counselor. A senior child can be asked for 2 days to become a counselor and help the younger children who are in the student council or problematic children in junior section from classes 6 to 8. He can be asked to solve those tiny little disciplinarian problems. So he is acting as a counselor at that particular time. Use of news, real world news, to study hurricanes, to study poverty, to study racism. These are very culturally relevant lessons. If we connect our subject with the real world, it becomes interesting for the child. So, and for example, in India, we have a lot of problems in our areas, litter problem. बहुत गंदगी है. स्वच्छ भारत अभियान अभी तक अच्छे से नहीं चल पा रहा है. So, in this period, they can write a blog. They can create a digital platform. They can be asked to create, posters were done beforehand also, handouts. Now handouts or flyers and help them to get distributed online to different communities. So if that lesson can be used in the real life context, it becomes very interesting. And then Dipti, collaborative teamwork now has a value in it. It always had, but in today's scenario of online teaching, collaboration and teamwork has a new meaning, right? So these are some of the learning strategies on which one after the other a stress can be given on.
Right, ma'am. So I agree, being a progressive principal, these are the areas that we should be keeping in mind, especially because in another 2 years, NEP will come into picture. And if I want to be a successful principal, my school has, and my teachers especially, have to be prepared to handle NEP once it is executed. So the one or two features which I would like to highlight here about NEP is a 360-degree assessment process. So I'm sure the principals are aware of it. So when Nerula ma'am talked about collaborative teamwork, so 360-degree assessment means a peer is going to rate or weigh how my other co-peer is performing in the classroom. So there have to be projects which have to be purely evaluated. Then the parent has to evaluate their own child. The teacher has to, वो तो हमेशा से ही हो रहा था, teacher तो evaluate कर ही रही थी. Now a parent will also evaluate, a peer will also evaluate, a staff will also evaluate, the support staff will evaluate, the other art education and physical education teachers are going to evaluate the child. So the holistic assessment will come into picture. The assessment would no longer would be that I got 99% in my board exams and I'm the school topper. That's no more going to be a scenario in the CBSE. So we as educators need to change the mindset of our team by using all these learning strategies today, so that eventually it flows down in the coming years. And ma'am, beautifully you have talked about the project-based learning and the inquiry-based learning patterns. But yes, the importance of multiple intelligence. 1980, Gardner came out with the theory of multiple intelligence. And he then said that there are 8 different kinds of intelligences. But today, in 20th century, yeah, I still believe a child who has got 100 in mathematics or 100 in physics is an intelligent person, and vis-a-vis the child who has got 100 probably in English or in pol science. Because my mindset still says that बच्चा वही इंटेलिजेंट होता है जो साइंस या मैथ्स में बढ़िया मार्क्स लाता है, और यही पर्कुलेट होता है हमारे बच्चों के अंदर बिलीफ सिस्टम. So that when we give stream allocation, how do we do the stream allocation, ma'am? Again, what we do is the ones who get the top ranks or the good marks gets into science. उसके बाद जो बच जाते हैं वो कॉमर्स में जाते हैं, और उसके बाद जो बच जाएंगे जिनको कहीं एडमिशन नहीं मिलेगा, they are the ones who get into humanities field. Humanities. So, NEP has again changed this entire mindset. And ma'am, I would like to ask a question here, because one of the panelists has also asked this, that with NEP, there would be no more this stream concept. There would be open combinations given, and an open basket of subjects would be there. So as a less resourceful school, जहाँ मेरे पास बहुत सारे subjects का option नहीं है और faculty नहीं है, so me being a less resourceful school, how would I offer this to my students? So when NEP says कि आप कोई stream मत बनाइए, कोई brackets मत डालिए, बच्चा कोई भी combination ले सकता है, history के साथ physics पढ़ने दीजिए उसे. So how do, as a principal, I manage this situation?
Deepti, let's to our aspiring principal. Let's find out how are they thinking on it. Let's see.
Why not? So anybody from the group would like to answer this?
I think. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
She's muted.
Rachna ma'am, please unmute.
Okay. I shall let participant respond on this question also. See, one solution can be setting a effective timetable in a different manner. That can be one, but we expect more answers from participants. Okay, how does a health wellness teacher can rejuvenate in bringing up prospects in academics? Is the question asked.
Does Archana ma'am want to say something?
Yeah, Archana.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Actually, there is some connectivity problem since morning, and I have heard half of it. Sir, please repeat the question. Sir, please repeat the question. 90% not heard by me.
The question is, resources are limited, but now as per NEP 2020, we have to provide open basket of many subjects and vocational courses. So how to manage, how to go about it?
I think first of all, a principal should make a checklist of such students who want to cross over the faculties. Like art student wanting some science subject, some science student wanting a commerce subject. So that checklist list they should have of the students. After that, the teachers who have taught the child must be asked whether the child can independently manage the academic part of it, whether he will pass or he will spoil the name of the school, as we see. And then his back support, whether the parents can support or he has some teacher at home giving tuitions like music and art and other subjects. So that checklist should be made of the child, of the back support of the of the parents, back support through some other sources or coaching centers. Leave aside coaching centers, some other sources like he has some coaching of music, art, or these kind of subjects. And then they should think on, and then they should plan how they can merge that in the timetable, and they can run more of parallel classes. They can run more of parallel classes instead of having individual periods for certain subjects or disciplines.
Deepti, I want to supplement a question in this.
Right, sir.
I want to supplement a question. We are saying that now there will be gamut of courses and stream-wise will not be there. Let us assume a child has taken arts, history, mathematics, philosophy, or something like that, and he want to become engineer. How will do? Still, engineering college will need mathematics. They will need some physics. They will need something, the engineering substances. So are engineering college going to start mathematics and physics and chemistry from the beginning, because there will be history and biology, history and sociology teacher also, children coming to for engineering, or engineering will be restricted to those who have studied that? If that is going to happen, then stream become useless. When IB came to India, IB has this system since very beginning that you cannot take more than one science, you cannot take more than this, etc. But they were forced to change for India because engineering college make it compulsory take physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So IB allowed only Indian children to study more than one science. What in our country, although it's premature to discuss, these things are still going to be discussed further. But what engineering college intake will be required? Will they take history and philosophy and mathematics person? Or he will take engineering, drawing and another groups? What is going to happen?
Right.
Sir, I think
Sir.
engineering colleges have allowed Sanskrit departments in their colleges nowadays.
Deepti madam, am I supposed to say something?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Why not?
Madam, what I am observing that it is something, a hypothetical situation has arisen in front of us, that I have been asked to prepare a mixed vegetable type of thing, mixed veg dish. So suppose because the thing which you have said, the open basket of options. So if I am not having carrot or broccoli, so instead of getting some substitute of those vegetables, I would like to rather go by potato or cauliflower or whatever is in my reach. So that would be my answer to your questions, ma'am.
Right. Wonderful. Very interesting analogy, sir, aapne di hai. Okay, to answer, I don't have the complete answer to all the questions, but yes, a little feeler that I know of is when this policy was drafted, fortunately, certain teachers and counselors and principals were requested to participate. So my experience comes from there. It is always very unfortunate that CBSE wanted to change the question pattern of board examination, but they were always blamed to give rote learning kind of questions. They were never allowed to experiment because out of syllabus question आ गया और उस पर फिर stay लग जाता था. The CBSE had to go and go to the court, and then there were a lot of proceedings happening. And all this was basically stopping CBSE to experiment and giving new methods or new way of assessing a child. Now, with the NEP, the beautiful part is that it is changing from the higher education to the school system. So, to answer Arun Prakash sir, the changes are not happening only at the school level. The changes are happening at the university level intake process. Now, if I have to go into Delhi University admission, what I'm supposed to do is I have to produce my class 12th result. मेरे 99% मार्क्स आए हैं तो मुझे कॉमर्स मिल जाएगा, बीकॉम ऑनर्स में कर सकती हूँ, अदरवाइज श्रीराम कॉलेज विल नॉट टेक मी. This process is going to change. Now, universities will have a basically 5 level of intake process. Jisme the first part would be obviously how much have you scored in the paper pencil test. The second part would be जो art integration पे इतना focus है schools में, and everybody is talking about how to include art integration. Now, it was always a part of my assessment. It was always a part of my report card. अगर आपको ध्यान होगा एज प्रिंसिपल्स जब आप रिपोर्ट कार्ड देते हो क्लास 12 के बच्चे की, तो वहां अदर देन एकेडमिक स्कॉलस्टिक स्कोर्स के अलावा 3 और एस्पेक्ट्स हैं. बच्चे को हम ग्रेड करते हैं बेस्ड ऑन डिसिप्लिन, जिसका कहीं भी एडमिशन से लिंक नहीं था अब तक. दूसरा है आपका फिजिकल एजुकेशन के ग्रेड्स, और तीसरा आता था आपका सेवा प्रोजेक्ट. क्लास 10th में आप सेवा प्रोजेक्ट करते हो, क्लास 12th में आपका जर्नल स्टडीज के ग्रेड होते हैं. So all these components will now be a part of my admission process in higher education. Yes, streams like medicine, engineering, and something which is cliched law हो गया, in सब में there would be need of specific subjects. We will not do away completely with our system, but yes, along with physics, chemistry, maths, and English, I may be allowed to take history. Like if you know of universities like Ashoka, Kalash, Kriya, Bennett, these are universities which are around Delhi, which take students from this kind of a combination. So schools need to prepare our children with the open mindset from class 6, 7th onwards to explore their interest. इसीलिए 6th में उन्होंने internship open की है. आपने अगर NEP ध्यान से पढ़ा होगा तो 6th क्लास के बच्चे के लिए कंपलसरी नंबर ऑफ आवर्स ऑफ इंटर्नशिप और कम्युनिटी सर्विस इंट्रोड्यूस की गई है, ये सोच के कि ये बच्चा आगे चल के क्या करना चाहता है, किस करियर या किस फील्ड में जाना चाहता है, वो अपना इन 3 सालों में एक्सप्लोर करे. इसीलिए NEP में ये कंपलसरी बनाया है, और वोकेशनल स्टडीज भी क्लास 6 ऑनवर्ड्स कंपलसरी है. But coming back to the question which I started with less resources, a school like me who does not have a vocational teacher, who does not have a teacher for let's say sociology, और मेरा स्कूल का बच्चा sociology पढ़ना चाहता है, so what do I do in this scenario? As a principal, what am I supposed to do? Or community service, how do I align my school students for community service? Or internships, how do I become resourceful as a principal? Anybody would like to answer? Because these are practical issues that you're going to face.
Staff is underutilized. Optimum utilization of a resource, manpower as well as infra is to be reinvented and redesigned.
Deepti, I think about 7 to 8 years before, many of the schools used to opt for 6 subject option also for 11th and 12th students. And few schools used to give this option on the basis of like if child could prepare on his own. Schools were not able to hold classes for them because of the timetable issue. Later on, CBSE made it compulsory that schools can opt for the 6th option only if the period is being allotted to it. It cannot be done without allotting a period. The teacher also has to be there. In this NEP also, I feel as they are going to give us various combinations, the schools will be able to provide as per their infrastructure, whatever infrastructure we have. depending on the teachers, depending on the infrastructure, schools will be able to open up with various subject options.
Right, sir. So there is a concept of hubs of learning in CBSE. So my request
collaboration and hubs of learning. Yeah.
Yes, coming back to Nirula ma'am's PPT again, focusing on collaboration. Now, all of us as CBSE schools have got this feedback that 3 years back we started with hubs of learning, but then actual execution of hubs of learning did not happen. हब्स ऑफ लर्निंग में ये कंपलसरी किया था सीबीएसई ने कि 5 स्कूल्स जो विसिनिटी के हैं वो अपना एक हब बनाएंगे और उसकी क्वार्टरली मीटिंग्स करेंगे और दैट मीटिंग्स ट्रेनिंग एक्सचेंज होंगे, रिसोर्सेज एक्सचेंज होंगे. So again, we have to revive that concept back and the schools with the vicinity. For example, जैसे थापर सर के स्कूल में हिस्ट्री का टीचर है और सर के हब वाला जो स्कूल है उसमें सोशियोलॉजी का टीचर है. So there would be guest lecture happening among the schools. That is what CBSE would aim at now. Yes. So you have to get into the mode of reviving hubs of learning.
Yes, yes, we are doing that.
Collaborating with each other to share your resources as well as your teachers.
Yeah.
And collaborating with the nearby vendors, the people who work with their hands like plumbers, pottery makers, craftsmen, the carpenter. So they have to be once a week, the person has to be called to the school and you have to put a workshop where a particular class would be visiting and there would be a designated 1 hour given to the child to either create from carpentry something or to learn to work with his hands. That is what vocational training or internship in class 6, 7, 8 intends to do in NEP.
Okay, let us conclude. I think the time is already 7-8 minutes over. Let me answer those 2-3 questions in brief, and then we can continue informally. Formally, we can close the session. There were 3-4 questions. One is Meenakshi Nirula ma'am has asked, participative leader. People take it granted many times how to go about it. Ma'am, my answer would be communication has to be very clear, specific, direct, and with all commitment, clarity, with resolution of work received means work done culture, so that on the spot we understand whether work is received means work done will happen or not. If not, let us negotiate and change it then and there. Communication is made. That is one. Then we may also set 3 reminder letters, maybe oral and written both, and train teachers what repercussions it may have, positive and negative both, appreciation as well as reprimanding, we can say, or maybe explanation part. So this kind of steps may be taken. There was a question from Saeed sir, complaint or criticism, how to take it. Basically, complaint or criticism, there are schools जो opportunity की तरह treat करते हैं, there are schools जो उसको बड़ा negative way में लेते हैं. Culture, that these things are to be treated as opportunity number 1. However, उनका authentication होना है, उनका समझना है कि पर्पस उसके पीछे क्या हो सकता है. Criticism always is good. Healthy criticism तो बहुत ही अच्छा होता है, that is very much required. और एक इसमें ये कर सकते हैं कि हमेशा कोई भी इवेंट या कोई प्रोसेस उसमें पॉइंट ऑफ कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स or areas of improvement or suggestions for improvement with action points should be incorporated as a part of process, as a part of duty chart, so that it becomes integral part of the process. If criticism भी अगर वहां आ रहा है तो वो improvement में automatically taken care हो जाएगा. एक क्वेश्चन पूछा कि अचीवर्स, नंबर ऑफ अचीवर्स से क्या सक्सेसफुल प्रिंसिपल का जजमेंट होता है, मेजरमेंट हो सकता है. बेसिकली सक्सेसफुल प्रिंसिपल या सक्सेसफुल, इट डिपेंड्स, डेफिनेशन ऑफ दिस ऑन विजन, मिशन, फिलॉसफी, ईथोस इन द स्कूल. डीपीएस आरके पुरम में जो इनटेक था मोस्टली सर्विस क्लास पेरेंट्स का था, बिजनेस क्लास। सो वहां फोकस था। देयर कैन बी स्कूल ऑफ फेलियर्स ओनली, जो फेलियर्स को कन्वर्ट करते हैं टू पास एंड टू रादर मेरिट होल्डर्स। सो डिपेंड करेगा कि किस तरह का स्कूल है। इसलिए कहना कि नंबर ऑफ अचीवर्स इज अ यार्डस्टिक ऑफ सक्सेसफुल प्रिंसिपल ऑफ द स्कूल इज नॉट अ कंप्लीट आंसर। इट डिपेंड्स ऑन दीज फैक्टर्स। एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन है, एनईपी इंप्लीमेंटेशन का प्लान क्या है? बेसिकली अलग अलग टाइम प्लान दिया हुआ है गवर्नमेंट ने ऑलरेडी, बट टू स्टार्ट विद अप्रैल 2022 से आपका ये सारे कोर्सेज, नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क will be made applicable. So we have to prepare ourselves. We have 1 year time where we have to prepare ourselves from all angles, be it a training, infra, or other requirements. So thank you, friends. Thank you very much. So maybe we declare meeting as formally closed, and informally we can continue for another few minutes. Those who want to ask any question, we can answer those questions.
Informally, sir, we would like to hear from Archana Kulfrit. I can see she is here. We have Johnson Burgess, if you remember, sir. He is also there with us.
Ji.
Archana ma'am, how are you?
I'm
Archana ma'am had been interacting on many issues, doing a wonderful job in DAV.
I can also see Sandhya ma'am. Yeah, are you from?
We are from the middle generation, sir. From the middle generation, 3 generations interacting.
Sandhya Roy ma'am, you're the same DPS guy teacher.
Yes, yes, please. Anybody want to ask, or should we conclude here?
Sir, actually,
Manoj Kumar Mishra is there.
Good evening, sir. I have a question.
Ji. Yeah, please.
It will be implemented in India?
NEP,
na?
Yes.
22.
April 22, the next session.
Okay.
However,
and the
4 years,
what they have given?
see, there are different years given. Next 2, 3, 4 years are given in the plan. But
Right,
at the
sir.
school level,
Yes, sir.
the all this will start from April 2022. If schools are not able to do it, Dipti, you are muted. You have to unmute. If schools are not ready, they will be given.
My query. Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for answering my query.
Yeah. Any other question? Maybe Dr. Anuprakash, you can conclude and we close.
Thank you, sir. We got a good session where we spoken from our heart and wanted to share what we learned so that we can reach to people who want to take to next generation, next level. But there is no shortcut of success. There are few people who are planted at the top level. Without naming them, we know what is happening at the many places. But a person is not having that inner strength, one part, learning from surrounding, making improvement in the process, and ready to face new challenges, then it will become difficult. And role of principal is one of the most complex, because one side you get most tender children whose whole life depends on you. Other side you have educated people working with you who are equally competent to see at every step what things are being done. Whole society is watching with, and there are parents who are university professors, there are parents who are doctors, there are parents who are philosophers, there are parents anywhere, whatever you are saying, that's being criticized, especially in the pandemic time when we are online. At the same time, results, school growth, financial development, admission, everything is such a complex thing that what is required basically, a person should have a cool mind, ready to take risk, calculated risk, I'll say, and ready to learn all the time what Dr. B. Singh sir started, that ready to learn. It just, I'll say again, it's just like a sail which goes against the wind also. If a ship was coming from England to India in those days when East India Company was ruling, the winds were always not sailing, and they were not using the rows, hind rows, or machines were not there that time. So hind rows, they were not rowing by hand to bring it here. They were adjusting their sails with adverse situation also. They were able to reach to the different place. So how to adjust your sails that you can go against the wind and reach to your destination, that is the goal of every leader, especially in a school where variables are many. There are many other regions, maybe a factory, there is a production, there is a people, there is supply, there is something different. But when you talk about the child, stakeholders are many. So it's a very serious job. It's a very tough job. It's a very difficult job, but at the same time, highly rewarding job. Because if a school grows well, children goes well, the school and teachers and moreover principal get the prestige and power and success also. So all the best to every one of you aspiring principal. Thank you all the people who have joined. Please.
Let me make one or two announcements. We must acknowledge and thank all those who have contributed and they have transferred some amount. We must request others also, in case they feel it is worth contributing, please do so. We may make use of it for the cause of education. And friends, you know, we have already communicated every Thursday in December. We'll have sessions for students, teachers, principals, and school founders. 3rd of December, session will be for students and parents. 10th of December, it will be for teachers. 17th December will be the next theme for principals again. And this time, the theme will be admin skills, governance and administration, how to run it effectively. And then 24th December will be session for school owners, founders, promoters. We had one session of 2 days conclave. So we'll continue with that. And this is what it will go on. The rest we'll do as per the demand and request of all other friends. So thank you so much for joining. All the very best. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Everybody did a good job. Thank you so much.